I'm not like trendy or anything, but I do feel like there's a big focus on not only identity, but also visibility right now. And so it's like, I remember very vividly, this was like maybe 5 years ago. I was working with a mindset coach at the time, and I was like out in my car outside of my acupuncture appointment. And she was like getting me down to this breakthrough. And like she could feel it and I could feel it. And I'm just like on the phone. And it was this like, this recognition of, I don't know who I am, but now I get to decide. And like it was like sad but empowering at the same time. And it makes me sad even thinking about it because, like, damn, alcohol gets in the way.
Welcome to the Sober Edge podcast, inspiration for alcohol-free living. I'm your host, Terri Patterson, functional nutritionist and This Naked Mind senior coach. The Sober Edge is a place to explore the infinite possibilities on the other side of drinking. In a culture soaked in booze, discover the wonder and joy of taking a different path. Meet real people living lives of purpose and passion, learn the truth behind the alcohol myths, and get ready to be motivated, inspired, and astounded by what is possible with the Sober Edge. Hey, so glad you're joining us for this special episode with my guest, Michelle Plante. You may recall that Michelle has been a previous guest on the Sober Edge podcast. And at that time, we talked about her foray into alcohol freedom, her travel business, and her curiosity and wonderful delight in becoming alcohol free. I will put that episode link in the show notes. But today, Michelle and I are talking about the evolving conversation, the evolving lifestyle that happens as we're not only becoming alcohol free, but the living alcohol free, which is my favorite part. Since we last spoke, Michelle has jumped into the stand-up comedy arena. She has also created a one-woman show entitled This Might Hurt, and she talks about navigating grief as she lost her dear mother last month. And so this conversation, as always with Michelle, is honest, raw, and beautiful. So I'm really glad you're here. Let's dive in together and find out about more of where Michelle is connecting the dots and how this can also bring about the evolution of you. Well, hey everyone, it's Terri back with another edition of the Sober Edge podcast. And I have a friend and repeat guest joining us today. I'm so delighted to welcome back to the Sober Edge podcast, Michelle Plante. Hello.
Hi, Terry. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Yes, so I was so excited to get your email, kind of giving me an update on your life. And there's a lot. And I think one of the things I want to honor, Michelle, for all of us as women growing in not just maybe an alcohol-free life, but bumping up against the hardest things in life. I like to think of it as like the evolution of you. And it is true for
I
all
love
of
that.
us. And it's not necessarily an easy evolution. So I really appreciate you, reaching out and saying, there's a lot going on and I'm connecting some dots and I would love to bring that forward into your audience. So it's been a couple years. You're now over 7 years alcohol free. Tell us about some
Wow.
of the dots that you're connecting at this version of you.
Yes, thank you so much, Terry. I really just love being here. And I just love to share how much I love being sober. And like, I think that a lot of times in the beginning, it's really easy for people to be like, oh, so you can't drink. And it's like, this is actually the best decision of my life. And it's also been so beautiful to expand beyond what I ever thought I would do emotionally, physically, spiritually. And so I come from a corporate background. I worked as an executive for a Fortune 500 company for a decade, left to pursue more meaningful work. When I first met you, I was doing a lot of sober travel promotion where I was really trying to find a place for women to travel together that wasn't focused on partying, but also wasn't focused on recovery. It just, like, wasn't part of the equation. And, I had a lot of fun with that. It was
Mhm.
amazing. I got to do some incredible travel, which I'll share about. And I feel like my journey in this world is to just explore and examine all of the things. And I also feel like women, when they become sober, it's like this desire to be like, "Who am I? What is my identity now? Oh, I'm gonna go be a photographer. Oh, I'm gonna be an accountant. Oh, I'm gonna be a mom." Like, all of those are beautiful. You get to do all of them, and, like, that's what I want. I don't want to be limited, and being alcohol free has given me so much energy and life to explore everything. And it's been really fun.
Yeah, and I think that we sometimes miss the fun. I love what you said, so I took a couple notes. I'm gonna read back some things you
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
So, having a love affair with being alcohol free. Like, this is the key for me that I always wanna highlight because we often, like you said, consider when we're on one side of making the decision about the role alcohol is gonna play in our life. We think we have, and often we do, have a love affair with alcohol and that version of us. And so when we actually start to see that, oh, wait, the greatest love affair is the one I'm going to have with myself. And that comes from letting go of something that is creating disconnection, confusion, maybe dishonesty, all of that. And really being able to say, like, the truest thing in my life is that I love this version of me.
Mhm. Yes, it's
Yeah,
the best
so
feeling ever.
cool.
Best feeling
Yeah,
ever.
and then, this idea of expanding, seeing yourself as not just one version of you. So, I just was on a coaching call, and I was doing a substitute session where this group has been working on identity, and it was fascinating because I had kind of heard a little bit about it, but they are really working on a formula. And that is not the way I coach at all.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
coach from a place of discovery and curiosity and recognizing the messiness is part of the magic and that I never want to arrive at the identity that I'm going to hold for the rest of my life. God forbid. That sounds terrible.
yeah. No.
Yeah, so
Why?
I'm in
Shouldn't.
this coaching session, just like people are just like blowing their mind because I am very much to what you were just sharing, this idea that be a mom, be a creative, be a messy human, be someone who dabbles in paddleboarding or skydiving. You were talking about your mom, be a badass bitch.
Yeah.
Whatever we're going to recognize is within us.
Mhm.
I think the identity is how we bring that forward. And we're going to have some core places that connect, but the evolution of you, the evolution of me, the evolution of us is ongoing.
Yes, I agree, and it makes me think of a couple things. So one, I was just with all of my college friends. We had a weekend at one of their lake houses, and there were, like, collectively at least 12 children there. Like, I don't even know who belongs to who at what point. Like, I'm just like, but they're all so lovely. And I noticed a lot of questions like, "What do you wanna be when you grow up?" And, like, I I'm not a mom. I'm not a mom, for the record. And I'm just like, why is there always this emphasis on future? Like, why is it like, well, you're doing this now, but you're not gonna do that forever, are you? Like anytime you're doing something that's not in the script, people have a lot of confusion and concern around that. And that's the same thing I experienced when I just stopped drinking alcohol. Like, I was good. Of course, I had so much stuff to work through, and I'm still working through it. But like, people, the questions that surrounded that where I was just like, "I didn't even think of that." Like, "Thank you for asking." And I think that has been a huge struggle for me, is being afraid of the questions, that I won't have an answer. And so now I'm just like, I don't know. How
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
Am I gonna do this for the next 5 years? I have no clue, babe.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. Well, and, I think when we say, what do you want to be when you grow up to those young tweens or whatever, we're asking the wrong question.
Yes.
What passions are you discovering today?
Amen.
Oh, I love my pets. Okay, so you have an affinity for connecting with the world in a way that touches
Mhm.
something in you.
Yeah.
Okay, you're passionate about mountain biking. What is it? It's exhilaration. It's connecting to something that makes me feel alive. Those are the questions. And the beauty is not stopping those questions when we grow up and become.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I haven't grown up yet. I don't know who I'm going to be when I grow up. I'm
Right.
not there. I'm not
Yeah.
arriving anywhere.
Yeah.
So I told my group this morning, there's a beautiful line that Arthur Brooks wrote in, or a framework, an idea, a thought that he brings to his work. So he is I don't think anymore, but he was a Harvard professor who wrote the book Build the Life You Want with Oprah Winfrey, which is
Mhm.
around happiness. And he said this: happiness is a direction, not a destination.
Mhm.
And I think identity is an uncovering, an unknowing as much as it's a knowing, a discovery. I often think of this journey that people call recovery. I like to call it discovery.
Yes, I love that.
And that sounds so cheesy, but I honestly mean it because I think
Yeah.
that where I left people today was like, what if identity is not a destination, it's a
Yeah.
direction? And they were like, wait, we thought we were supposed to have a statement. And I was like, my statement is I am a messy, magical human on a wild magic carpet ride where new things are entering into my sphere. I'm exploring, I'm dabbling, I'm knowing, I'm unknowing. Would you like to join me?
Yes, I
Like,
love that, Terry.
that's like so different than the way culture has defined identity. And the purpose that we play and the passions that we get to explore here.
Yeah.
And I think it's bumps right up against the way we used to describe as a culture alcohol. Why alcohol, is such a huge part of our culture. Why do we have to define ourselves so narrowly? What
Yeah.
what is that all about?
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know. Again, I'm not like trendy or anything, but I do feel like there's a big focus on not only identity, but also visibility right now. And so it's like, I remember very vividly, this was like maybe 5 years ago. I was working with a mindset coach at the time, and I was like out in my car outside of my acupuncture appointment. And she was like getting me down to this breakthrough. And like she could feel it and I could feel it. And I'm just like on the phone. And it was this like, this recognition of, I don't know who I am, but now I get to decide. And like it was like sad but empowering at the same time. And it makes me sad even thinking about it because, like, damn, alcohol gets in the way. Like, it really does. And there are some days where I'm like, I don't even think about it. But as I'm reflecting back on that, I just feel like there's so much limiting that happens in a lot of ways when alcohol is like part of the picture. It's crazy to me. I love being
Yeah,
sober.
for sure. And I think it's one of the most uh challenging things that as women in midlife, we bump up against, or even you were younger, I think. But for me, I was 55 when I stopped drinking. And part of the discovery on the other side of that was, oh, I don't know what I love. I don't know what I'm most
Yeah,
passionate about.
true.
I forgot the things I used to love. And so it can be this beautiful journey of rediscovery, but it also can be the curiosity that brings new things into our sphere. And so I want to ask you because you hooked me with this you said and one of the things I'm doing is exploring stand-up comedy and acting. And so that just made me so happy. I feel like in an alternative universe, I sometimes think I'm funny, but I think mostly I'm
You
just
are.
corny. And
No. You're hilarious.
and I don't know that I would ever have something to deliver, but I'm fascinated by stand-up comedy. Mostly I've seen really bad stand-up comedy in
Yeah,
person.
sure.
I haven't seen any good stand-up comedy live.
Yeah.
And
Me
it reminds me,
too.
how hard it is to
Yeah.
connect with people and the collective human experience. So I'm so curious, do you use, your alcohol-free journey as part of your shtick at all?
It's not earlier, I had a couple jokes about it.
Mhm.
It's not there right now.
Mhm.
It's not a big part of it, and not for any intention, like, not because I don't want to talk about it, it's my favorite thing to talk about. Um, I talk a lot about dating or, like, uh yeah, dating and family and friends and, like, witchy stuff, like, just really silly things, but I do look forward to when I come up when I am super intentional with how I approach that. I've tried a couple of things, but nothing's perfect for me just yet, but I love it.
Oh, it's so fun, and I think, gosh, talk about vulnerability and courage
Mhm.
and, being willing to, connect with people in the darker side of things. I
Yeah.
think that that is such a brave
Mm.
place to explore. I don't think I'm that brave.
Yes, you are. You're very brave, Terry. I try it if you want.
Mm.
Try it. Go to an open mic.
Yeah, no, maybe not.
Okay.
I have to
Like,
tell you about my experience. Maybe I have
please
to tell you
do.
about my experience. So my best, I call her my sober bestie. So my best friend, who I met on this alcohol-free journey. We were celebrating last fall. I was gonna turn 10 in my alcohol-free years, and she was turning 5. And
Yeah.
so we thought, "Well, what do we wanna do?" So we saw that Elizabeth Gilbert was speaking in Santa Barbara about her book, All the Way to the River. And
Yeah.
so she said, "Let's go see Elizabeth Gilbert speak." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So we went to Santa Barbara. We had this amazing time. And one night, we were wandering late through just like the little downtown part, and there was a comedy open mic. Well, not it wasn't an open mic. There was a comedy show going on, but they were very, very raw, Michelle, which might be a lot of comedy. But the
Yeah.
hilarious thing was, so we went in and we're sitting there, and there's maybe 20 people. It's in the back of this restaurant. It's
Yeah.
late. They hug, they were like the hucksters. Come in
Oh,
from the street, join
correct.
us.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, and so they had an MC, and then they had, these comics, and I think the headline comic might have been she was trying out some new material. So she starts this joke and she says, "Okay, so, like, sober people." And I was like, "Oh, she's in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Oh,
not gonna go well." She's like, "You know how they're, like, so present?" Like, anybody know anybody like that? I'm like, "Oh, us. We're here.
yeah.
We've been alcohol free. We love our alcohol free life." And she was like, "Oh." She's like, "Well, what about the being present all the time part?" And I was like, "That's our favorite thing." And my friend's like, "Yeah." And she just, like, moved on from the material. There was
Oh, no.
nothing left to say, so I totally ruined it.
Oh, no. That's hilarious. That's funny. I
Yeah.
wonder what I was gonna say.
I think she was gonna make fun of the fact that, who wants to actually be present in their real life? Yeah. Yeah. Me and you.
Yeah. I get why you don't. I get it. I love it, though.
Yeah, I've been saying, this current group that I'm coaching with is, a little less, um, learned around, like, alcohol freedom and sober curiosity, they kind of come from a place of a different starting place. And so I've been revisiting the term or the phrase, build a life you don't want to escape from.
Mhm.
And for them, it's like, what? And I'm like, 100%. Like, that's what you're
Yeah.
doing. That's what you're doing. And so this poor gal, she was never going to get there.
Oh, no.
But what has your experience been with stand-up comedy? Like, is it, harder than you thought? How is it rewarding? What's your experience been?
I'm obsessed, and I'm not a professional, for the record. I am baby, I'm very green, but I'm okay with sucking. That's the thing. I'm okay with looking really stupid. I'm okay with standing up there and no one laughing. Like, and it's happened, many, 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 many times. Um, and I'm okay with that. Is it my favorite? No. Would I do I prefer they were laughing? Yes. But what I find to be very interesting is that there's no way I could have done it sober. I mean, while drinking. Like, no way. Like, I mean, I just would have been blacked out. Like, they wouldn't have allowed me on stage. I mean, they allow a lot of people, but, like, I just feel really grateful that I got really comfortable, very confident in my sobriety, where it wasn't like, "Ooh," it was just like, "Nope, nope, nope," and now everyone knows, like, "No, she's sober," and I don't know, dude, I can't explain it. I just, like, love it. It's my favorite. I love writing and then sharing what I've written. I love surprising people. I love being excited about something. It feels like it took me a minute to, like, get to a sort of art form that I can pour myself into. Like, that feels really good. I didn't even know I needed that,
Mm,
and
mm.
it feels really good.
Yeah, I think that's the most exciting part is I've shared before on the podcast and maybe even in our episode, but I love the idea of being a dabbler.
Yes.
And just trying things because
Huh.
the reality is that we have this arrested development when we're drinking and we don't develop necessarily that creative side of ourself or that fierce, brave side of ourself or that passionate side of ourself. And so if we want to, like some things that I've done, explored fencing, didn't love it,
Cool.
didn't love it.
Yeah. But you did
um,
it.
Playing the ukulele, not
Yes.
very good at it, but,
Sure.
the reality is that if I had never tried those things, I would be here today saying, "Someday I'm going to," and so I stop putting off the someday and I start
Yeah.
rec recognizing, is it does it am I curious about it? Do I wanna research it? And I research it and think, "Does this sound like something I wanna dabble in?" And then I dabble in and I say, "Is this something I wanna continue?" And it might grow into a passion and it might not.
Totally.
And that I think is part of what I love about the evolution of us is that recognizing that the old cultural thing of who you're gonna be when you grow up is
Yeah.
so irrelevant to how we live a rich, full, thriving life that we don't want to escape from.
100%. Will
Mhm.
you go get your ukulele?
No, I'm not good enough. It's not even tuned. I haven't played it lately, but I
Yeah.
do recognize that there is a desire for that creative piece,
Yeah.
and I need to keep dabbling, maybe I'll try a little watercolor class. How fun.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be, a full-on investment that just gonna become my identity. I mean, who
No.
knows? It could, but
Yeah.
likely not. But how
Yes.
fun.
Yeah. It's been
How
amazing,
fun.
Terry. It's been amazing. I love it so much. I'm just having a blast, and through that, I started just meeting a lot of really cool people and also attending, like, other different spaces with live in-person art forms. And I would love to share a little bit about the show that
Yes.
I'm okay. So, are you familiar with The Moth?
A little bit.
Okay, so I've done The Moth a couple times, which is a beautiful storytelling experience, and so I was like, "Hmm." The Moth is like these like anyone can do it. Open mic is like meant for comedy, but it's like less intentional. And I'm like, let's have a baby, you know? And so and this is like one thing that I'm so thankful for that I'm sober because now, like, as I'm writing jokes and now as I'm just having ideas, like, I feel so clear and, like, connected that ideas come to me. And when I've heard people talk about that, I'm like, "Oh, that's so annoying. That's so annoying. Your ideas just come to you? Cool." And now I'm like, "Oh, no, now I get it." So I was going through a pretty rough breakup last year, and, like, one day I just like, I can't even tell you, the idea came in, like, write a letter and read it out loud. And so I was getting to know people at a theater and I said, I pitched an idea. Like, what do you think about this? It's part comedy, it's part healing, but it's ultimately people reading letters that they were never meant to send. So, like we all like write that email when we're so mad, but we end up deleting it. But like, actually, let's read it out loud.
Mhm.
And it's called This Might Hurt a Little. The next one is July 29th in Kansas City. I wish you could come, Terry. Hope to bring it to California one day. And so that is my baby right now. And that's where I'm seeing so much laughing and learning and healing and loving in this container where people are being witnessed and also very vulnerable, but also, like, kinda laughing about it. Like, "Yeah, I got broken up with a guy who couldn't whistle." It's kinda funny. You know, like, thinking about the different things, and so it's just been such a beautiful experience, and I have a lot of comedians who are reading these letters, so they also get to express a different muscle, a different side, and people get to see a new side of them. So it's just been, like, the most amazing thing I've ever done. I'm really happy about it.
Oh, I'm so intrigued.
Yes.
I really am drawn to the, performing. I so there's a framework from the work of Stuart Brown, who is kinda like the premier thought leader on play and adults
Okay.
and play and the health of our development with play and how we don't stop growing when, we shouldn't stop playing because that growth is available as adults. And
Yeah.
so he has a framework. And in the 8 styles or 8 play personalities, one is called the director. And it's
Mhm.
like 100% me. I want to curate an experience. I want to direct. When I coach, I'm currently coaching with as a contract coach with Alcohol Free Lifestyle, and our format is it's part facilitation, part coaching, and my favorite thing is that blend of workshop, like
Mhm.
creating an experience where and it's part of podcasting too. It's like
Sure.
I all the things I do in my life that I truly love, I'm directing. So
Yes.
I recognize that. And so creating and directing, but also recognizing that a good director, or I shouldn't say good director, that's not what I want to say. But in this format, the director has to be open to the experience becoming the thing.
Mhm.
So it's not about, like, what you're saying, by having other people share their vulnerable letters, then it's becoming the group collective experience is what the thing is, not what you've written or directed.
1,000,000%.
And that's how coaching is.
Yes. Yeah.
Coaching is it co-created. That's the word I'm looking for. So the
Yeah.
co-creation of an experience that you have the outline for, but
Mhm.
every show is different.
Yes.
Wow.
1,000,000%. It's so fun, and, like, something that I said last time that came to me as another idea, it was like, it's not a competition,
Mhm.
it's a collective. So what we're doing is creating this opportunity to be witnessed. That's all. Not to be fixed, not to be healed, not to be whatever, like, just, "This happened to me, that's it, and, like, we got you. We're watching you. Wow, that sucks. Thank you." Like, and the hugs are just a little tighter that day, you know? It's really beautiful, and I'm just having so much fun.
This might hurt a little. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that name came to me too. And then I shared a post today, and something that I said too is, "This might heal a little too."
Mm.
And just that beautiful balance between leaning into the discomfort and leaning into those really painful, dark, yucky ass feelings, and just being open to what they're gonna teach you or show you.
Yes. I'm reading that book right now, and it's a book that was published in 2019, and it's called Know My Name by a
Mm.
woman named Chanel Miller. And her backstory, Michelle, is that she was sexually assaulted on the Stanford campus.
Oh my.
And her court case, she was anonymous in the beginning. So they gave her a different name. And then, of course, she went through the trial. But what happened was the person that had assaulted her was convicted, and she was asked to read a witness statement. And her witness statement, this is in 29, no, must have been in 2016.
Mhm.
12 million people read
Mm.
it. Yeah, 12 million people. And ultimately, he was, her, uh, her assailant was convicted, but only served, it was a minimum of 2 years, and the judge overrode that and gave him 6 months, of which he served 3 months.
Oh my.
And on the heels of that, and I'm not finished with the book yet, but I know the case because I used to live in the Bay Area, and I remember the case when it happened. They
Wow.
ultimately recalled the judge who issued that sentence. And it was like, so she's coming to that place now of the hardest thing she ever did, and the fact that she was willing to go to trial, and the fact that there was this conviction and she got to use her voice. And so then ultimately, in 2019, she writes a book called Know My Name. So she comes
Wow.
public with her name. At this point in the journey, not everyone even recognizes that she is Emily Doe.
Wow.
And what I see is that what you're saying is that hurting and healing is part of that through line of the human experience, and holding space for people to share their voice and their experience is one of the most beautiful things.
I don't know if you can see my goosebumps, but I have to share one of my good friends on the last show in April. She came to me and said, I had asked her to perform, and she said, "Look, I have something that happened to me a very long time ago. It's very intense. I'd like to read about it." And I also remember where I was when I got that text, because I was like, "That is so brave. That is, like, the most courageous thing you could ever share." Like, I am so honored to receive this text message. And I know that she was really nervous leading up to the day. Even her husband didn't know what she was reading about that night, and so it was news to him. And her voice was the most powerful sound I have ever heard out of that microphone, and people were sobbing, and it gave me, like, a lot of strength that I didn't know I had, and I will never forget that. It was just a once in a lifetime moment to witness, and I think there's so much power that goes into that, and I just have so much respect for women who will do that.
Mm.
It's so amazing. You'll have to let me
Yeah.
know how the book ends.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that it's very much like what you're giving the opportunity. So she had an opportunity to share. And what she said was, it's so interesting. I'm getting goosebumps now, Michelle.
Yeah.
When she said she wrote the victim's statement thinking she was going to be facing her assailant.
Mm.
So she wrote it as a letter to him.
Wow, yeah.
But what happened was when she got there, she realized they'd never told her that. She would be facing the judge. Her back would be to them. She'd be away from, and she was supposed to be sharing the impact it had had on her life, which is what she did.
Right.
But not only did 12 million people read it, she actually, and that was just on BuzzFeed alone, I think.
Wow.
But she actually had two, I can't remember if they were congresswomen or senators, read it on the Senate floor for the state of California. Because what it was really bumping up against for so many people was that sexual assault on a college campus is considered less than sexual assault if she'd been 2 blocks away,
Right.
because they excuse the ill behavior as, like, boys will be all of that came up, and so, I know that's a segue, we're talking about something, different, but I think what your show is doing is, exactly what we get to do in our own journey in alcohol freedom is we get to consider the unsaid things, the way we tamp down our voice, the way we shut down part of our emotional healing because it's not polite or no one wants to hear it. And for many of us, those are the very things we used alcohol for. Those are the things we drank over.
Correct.
And so for you to be giving people the opportunity and a voice,
Mm.
that is powerful work, man.
I love it. Thank you so much, Terry. That means a lot.
Yeah.
It means a lot. And it's like, it just feels so right. Like it hasn't been hard. It's been really fun. And it's definitely something that I want to continue to evolve. And it's like, it's just so genuine. It's just truth. And I think writing is so healing. Like, if I can get 10 people to write a letter, hell yeah. Like I think there's just so much power in the simplicity of writing. I'm obviously a huge journaler. I'm sure you are too. And it's just like, really? It's not
Yeah.
tell me about your practice.
So I when I first wanted to journal, I was still drinking. And I thought, oh, I want to be this evolved woman, and I was probably in my 40s. And so who did I look to for the example of journaling at the time? Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
Like I thought I was Oprah. I'm
I
like, well,
mean,
that might have been a
what
high
gold
bar.
money.
And so, she had this perfect journal and she would journal before bed. And I was always trying to emulate that. And I would make short forays into it, or I'd buy a special journal and never open it. And so, not long after I stopped drinking, I thought, okay, what if I just started a gratitude practice and I just allowed myself to write 5 things I was grateful for? And I'm going to do it in the morning. And I'm going to buy a dollar notebook and just write my 5 things.
Yes.
And so once I lowered the bar and I figured out how I could do it,
Yeah.
the way that worked for me, I've done it. I probably missed a total of 10 days in I started a year after I was alcohol free. So it'll be 10 years I'll be 11 years alcohol free. It'll be 10 years of doing a daily gratitude practice
Wow,
in
amazing.
October. So
Wow.
that made all the difference. And
Totally.
now I realize that I also not just uh write the things I'm grateful for, but I expand on, in a journal format. But really, the framework for me was really those 5 things. I often tell my clients lower the bar,
Yeah,
lower the bar to the minimum thing you can do to just get started.
correct.
And that can make so much difference. And then we can evolve from there and we can grow our practice. I teach my clients that start this. And then sometimes they'll be like, well, my gratitude practice has gotten really stale. I'm just doing the same things over and over again. I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful for my coffee. I'm grateful I don't drink. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so we got to go 3 layers deep.
Mhm.
So I teach something, I'm sure I'm not the first person, and I call it 3 layers deep for whatever reason. I'm
Yeah.
sure I ripped it off from someone else. There's nothing new under the sun. But my interpretation of it is to not just tell me what you're grateful for, but tell me why.
Mhm.
And then tell me why that matters. So
Mhm.
I had a guy who had a picture of his dog above him. It was like one of those cartoon drawings of a dog, and I'm like he's like, "I don't have any, it's very road, I don't know." And so I said, "Okay, well, is that your dog?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, are you ever grateful for your dog?" He goes, "Oh, every day." I
Mhm.
said, "Okay, so what's your dog's name?" We'll call him Fido. So he's
Mhm.
like, he would write, "I'm grateful for Fido." I'm like, "Tell me why." He said, "Because Fido makes me laugh. He's so silly." And I
Mm.
said, "Why is laughter important?" And that's where his gratitude practice, his journaling took on a different dimension. So that's how I've deepened my own journaling practice. But I don't think I'm a traditional journaler at all. But again, I'm not Oprah. I'm just Terry.
Stop that. Stop it. It makes me I mean, I it makes me think of, like, laughter. Like, I have a whole new appreciation for it when I'm like, that's all I want in a specific moment," and it's like it's truly like a physiological response, and, so now, like, laughing used to make me really happy. Now it's like, I can't even tell you. It's the best thing in the world, and just the sound of it makes me so happy, and I just, like I love that his dog is making him laugh. Like
Well, and and things can make us laugh, but what he got to was being alcohol free allowed him to be present enough to see and to recognize there was moments of levity and joy and happiness in his daily life. And that was not available before. And so I think, as I think about why is there stand-up comedy? Why has it been a thing forever? We were talking about the Three Stooges the other day, and I was thinking, physical comedy,
Yeah.
the ability to be silly together. I think it's because it reminds us of our shared humanity, of why laughter is so powerful.
Mhm.
And it allows us to um, move through life with the recognition of that yin and yang.
Something that I noticed when I was traveling a lot was that we all laugh the same. There's no language barrier. Like, it's very clear what's happening with someone emotionally. For the most part, emotions are pretty universal, and being in touch with your own and in others is, like, the coolest thing ever. It's so beautiful. I think once you stop drinking, it can be like, "Whoa, what that's a thing that I've never experienced," or "Whoa," and I just I love it a lot. I think that we need to just be laughing together.
Yes, and for the healing part of it as well. So,
Exactly.
I wanna ask about something personal you shared with me, which was the grief journey that you've been on.
Yeah.
You lost your mom, this spring, is that correct?
Yeah, in May.
Yeah, and so that how is laughter helping you navigate that?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I came across a video from, like, 10 years ago when we're playing with my best friend's sister's daughter, and we had, like, a laser pointer that we used for the cat, but we were, like, playing it with her four-year-old daughter, and her daughter was, like, bouncing around. It's the funniest thing ever, and I can hear my mom's laughter in that, and I've, like, always loved making her laugh, and she got to see me do stand-up, thank goodness, and, like, she was so funny, Terry, like and I feel even weird speaking about her in past tense because I feel her presence, like, with me all the time, and she's just so freaking funny, and we laughed so much leading up till, her last moments here. Even when we were in the hospice facility, we were cracking up together, and it's been really hard. It's been extremely challenging. I have amazing friends, and I got I think it was, like, maybe the day after her funeral, I got a really nice message from my friend that was just like, "I really just want to acknowledge you for staying sober." through this. And I had made some jokes about wanting a cigarette, and I haven't. And there wasn't ever a time where I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wanna drink," but I was like, "I'm kinda scared." Like, I'm kinda scared. I wasn't gonna be like I definitely had a thought that said, "If you relapsed, if you drank, like, I wouldn't be surprised." Like, I was anticipating that. I was making jokes this is a little intense. I was making jokes with my dad, like, "Where's the heroin?" Like, "I'm gonna need something stronger." And, I'm just so I feel so strong that I've been able to withstand the deep pain and grief that sometimes, like, truly knocks me on my feet of that experience, and that I was just able to be with her. She's my favorite person ever. She is amazing, and I miss her so much, and I loved making her laugh, and I, like, just love her so much. It's been
Well,
really hard.
what is her first name?
Veronica.
Oh, what a
Yes,
beautiful
and I have to share the day out so many beautiful, like, signs keep coming. And the day after her funeral, my best friend's mom went shopping for plants, bought a plant, and it was a Veronica plant. And I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah.
And so you better believe when I got back to my house, I planted 40 in my front yard, like, and I'm just watering them every day. I love that the bees are on them. And so, like, our last name is Plant. So I have, like, literally Veronica plant in my front yard. And my dad put one in the back of his yard. And it's just so freaking beautiful. Like, it's so crazy, all of the different, just like, I don't even know how to explain, like, the mystical, magical, metaphysical, like, experiences that you have when you're that close to someone who's dying. Like, very painful, but also really like, "Wow, what else is there?" Like, it's so interesting, and I would have never been able to experience that drinking.
Yeah. Well, and I think that thank you for sharing that, and I love that her name is Veronica. I have a Vanessa, and I was thinking, there's not very many V names,
Yeah.
and I work with a Victoria, so I
Yeah.
have there's a synergy in my soul when I hear those V names.
Oh, love that.
But I also think, what I wrote down as you were talking, what came up is that, one of the hardest things about grief is that it's a solo journey.
Dog. Yeah. Very.
And we think that, we want to help people through grief or we want to, all these things. But the reality is that it is that inner place that we will touch at some point that is so hard and
Mhm.
so challenging. And it takes a lot of bravery and it takes a lot of recognition that we're going to be there whether we fight it or not. Because as you probably know and recognize that if somebody has gone through a significant grief and they were drinking, when they stop drinking, often I can't say always, but in my experience as a coach these last 7 years is that almost always people will bump right back up against the unresolved pain and grief.
Mhm.
And so we're literally kicking the can down the road. We are not by numbing, we are not, um, touching that place that needs our touch.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
we're postponing the pain instead of wading through and acknowledging and visiting it, I guess.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because you can't really, like, plan it or schedule it. Like, I write to my mom, like, all the time in the morning, so I'm obviously, like, crying. But there'll just be, like, moments where I'm like, "Oh, no, I just gotta go sit down on the couch for a little bit." not gonna make it to dinner, like, I just so it's been actually, like, a beautiful now that I'm saying it out loud, like, a really beautiful lesson in, like, boundaries for myself too, where it's like I'm truly deciding whether or not I want to do something based on, like, how I'm feeling in that moment or how I'm going to be feeling. So, I don't know. It's
Perhaps it's one of the ways that grief comes as such an incredible lesson. And
yes.
it's not a lesson anyone wants, but we will all have the opportunity, and we can resist the lesson. We cannot do the homework assigned
Yeah.
to the lesson. But what I love is I took a nervous system regulation course in the fall, and it was a real full circle moment for me because I have had always a healthy relationship with my brain. I think my way out of everything. I overthink my way into things.
Yeah.
But honoring the rhythm of my nervous system has been a new gift.
Yeah.
And what you're saying right there is partly going inward and recognizing how our nervous system needs time and space,
Mhm.
attention. And I often think about, I don't know if this is applicable, but I think about when I work with people that are early in their journey, I'll remind them that their little alcohol free baby
Mhm.
is only 30 days old or
Yeah.
32 days old. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't need to go on vacation to Bali with the boozy friends. You wouldn't take a 32-day-old baby.
Yeah.
And same thing with grief, Michelle, is that your grief is 5 weeks, 6 weeks,
Yeah.
7 weeks old. So
Yeah.
you have this tender entity
Truly.
that is only 7 weeks old, 5 weeks old, and you're saying, "What does this 5-week-old need right now? How can I nourish and nurture and honor that part of me?"
Yeah.
And that tenderness is so poignant in grief.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I can't like, it's so, like, heart. Like, I've never felt my heart more.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like a new level that I can't describe. There's, like, pain, but then there's also, like, gosh, I'm still with her. I can still feel her. I still dream about her. I'm getting signs from her every day. Like, so there's this, like, "Oh, I love you, mommy," but then there's also, like, "Oh, I love you, mommy." Like, it's like this balance of love and loss, which I find oftentimes we're just searching for the love, like, "Oh, need to go that," and it's also like, listen, I'm a Scorpio, like, I'm not scared of the darkness, like, I'm gonna go into it, and I knew that when I would lose my mom, like, I had mentally prepared, like, I'm not gonna avoid, I'm gonna be sad for at least 21 business days, you know? I'm not doing anything for a while besides massages and sushi, and that's been really helpful, and like I said, my friends have been so amazing, and I love my mom so much, she's so perfect, this is her.
Ah,
This was her 50th birthday, she just went skydiving.
amazing.
Who, like, just I'm just gonna go skydiving for my 50th birthday, and when she turned, I think it was, she passed away at 77, I think she was 74, she had never swam in her life, took swimming lessons at the Y in Davenport, Iowa, and then went to Belize and freaking snorkeled in the Caribbean Sea. Like,
I love
just
that. I would have
yeah,
loved your mom. I thank
she's
you
the
for that story. That's such a
yeah.
cool story.
There's millions like that. Just sister was living, and I'm just so, like, proud of her,
Mm.
and, um and that's I feel like why it makes it me okay to, like, go try to do something and suck. I'm completely fine with that. Remember when it was cool to just, like, go try new things? Like, adventurous or not, like, I just feel I have received that from her, and I love that about myself too. Like, I'm not going skydiving, but, like Like, I'll do
But you're
some.
doing stand-up comedy,
Yeah,
which is a lot
true.
scarier than skydiving, let me tell ya. Wow.
True. So, I love her so much. I'm just like it's I know that this next phase of my life is gonna be, like, so magical and so beautiful because she's helping and supporting me, and I'm just really excited.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and I often think of this journey as that through line. And so I think that, when we're so blessed and fortunate to have a loving mom, not all
Yes.
of us are.
You're right.
Um, the through line of the lessons that we see, and sometimes we don't see them as clearly until they're gone.
Right.
And I think the beauty of grief is it gives us that alternate perspective,
Mhm.
and it is painful because sometimes we're so attached to the one version and we're thinking, "How did I miss it?"
Yeah.
And so, what you're doing in your life now is maybe in some ways honoring her, but
Yeah.
also it's it's just living the lesson that she was sharing with you, whether it was spoken, modeled, and whether it doesn't even appear until the person is gone.
Mm.
We're all teachers.
Yes.
And one of the things that I think that is so beautiful about removing alcohol from our life is that we get to start exploring the parts of us that have always been there, but we didn't honor or recognize because of the alcohol. And so, whether it's a little more bravery or a little more intentionality or a little more introspection or a lot more laughter,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's how we get to live a really cool life.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. It's been lovely to catch up. I'm so excited about where you're headed. I just want to honor the courage and the gift that you're bringing into the world. And I can see and feel it as really resonant with the person you are becoming. And as we talked about identity, full permission to call me again in 2 years and say, I'm on to the next version of me. I love it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm like a potter or something, like a florist, like, I don't know. Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for receiving that and just honoring that. That means the world.
Well, it's always fun to hear someone who is doing something wildly different because it reminds me of how unique humans are and how we just need what is it from? I think it's from I Bought a Zoo. We need 30 seconds of insane courage, and then we're anything is possible.
Yeah,
And you're proving that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you so much, Terry. It was so good to catch up and so good to see you as always.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Before we end, I know you said that you're currently doing creative visibility coaching and help
Yes.
creatives bring, what you said that really resonated with me was like whittle down the 450 ideas to the two or three that are actually have legs. So, how
Yeah.
can people find you if they want to work
Yes.
with you or explore more?
Yes, Instagram is great at Michelle Plant Comedy. The link to book is in my bio, and I love that. And I love using my coaching background to help creatives come up with ideas that they can bring to life. So they're not just like in a notes app or in a Google Doc or like they just bought a URL 3 years ago and haven't done anything with it. Like there's nothing more fun for me than bringing ideas to this world. And I just love helping creatives do that. So I would love to do that.
And I really appreciate that somebody is doing that in the world. I love the idea of a creative visibility coach. When I worked with coaches, people would be like, well, I'm an alcohol free coach. And I'm like, and what else? And they tell
Yes.
me, and what else? And tell me that.
Yeah.
And what else? Okay, that's the heart of coaching that makes you
Yeah.
unique.
100%.
Beautiful.
I love it.
All right. Well, you know where to find Michelle. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did.
Yay.
I want to thank you for tuning in to the Sober Edge podcast. This is a place for important conversations and a safe place to question everything you thought you knew about drinking. If you're looking for your sober edge, I want to invite you to connect with me at thesobernutritionist.com, where you can grab my free resource, Becoming More, a guide to loving your sober life. And I would be so grateful if you enjoyed this podcast, if you would leave a rating and review, as it will help more people find their sober edge.